What's up, fight fans? And we're back at it with another edition of Round One Sports Talk. Let's talk about it. Shakor Stevenson and Edwin De Los Santos just wrapped up their 135-pound championship fight for the WBC. We're gonna get into that. David Benavidez versus Demetrius Andre, and Jose Benavidez versus the Charlo twin. All that and more and much more. So join me. If like always, if you haven't liked the video, subscribe, share the videos, and like always, let's get right into this video. Well, Shakor Stevenson, getting up here and telling you that he had a lackluster performance would be an understatement. Okay, I want you to take this into consideration. You know that a lot of times when fighters are fighting other fighters and they beat that fighter, they'll come on and say that that fighter was exposed, right? Which, in fact, you know, if you're a good fighter and you fight against another great fighter and he beats you, he doesn't technically expose you because he just beat you because you were both on that level. He didn't expose nothing. He just beat you, right? Okay. For instance, Mayweather didn't expose Manny Pacquiao, right? He just beat Manny Pacquiao. That's it. We already know who Manny Pacquiao is, right? Okay. Case in point, a prime example for someone being exposed, when Tyson Fury almost lost to Francis Ngannou, that's being exposed. You know why? Because Francis Ngannou, on his first professional fight, beat, arguably, which he is claiming to be, not the best heavyweight of our time, not the best heavyweight of our generation. He's trying to say that he's the best heavyweight ever, period. That's what he's saying. So you mean to tell me that a guy can switch sports on his first professional fight, do that to you, and you're claiming to be the best heavyweight champion that ever lived, better than this man right here? That's being exposed. Okay? Now, what happened to Shakor Stevenson was right around those lines. He was exposed. Shakor Stevenson didn't fight against a big top tier named guy. Okay, he didn't fight Tank Davis. He didn't fight Devin Haney. He didn't fight Jamie Ortiz. He didn't fight Rivera, right? Ghost Martin. None of those guys. He fought a relatively unknown fighter, Edwin De Los Santos. And I'm not taking anything from Edwin De Los Santos. He's 24 years old, and he's making a name for himself. Now, the thing is, in order for you also to be exposed, right, you have to take into consideration that, yes, he didn't have his best performance, right? Yes, he didn't barely threw the left hand. They're trying to say his hand was broken. I don't buy it. I believe he became gun shy once he felt Edwin De Los Santos' presence and his punching power in that first round. Something must have hit him that made him gun shy, and he shelled up. That's what's happening. Everybody wants to give him a way out and say, no, his hand must have been broken. And in some cases, fighters would have took that and ran with it. Oh, yeah, my hand's broken. But Shakor Stevenson's fighting pride wouldn't allow them to give him a way out. He simply said, I had a bad night. I got to go back to the drawing board. I have things to work on. He was honest with his assessment. Now, I had high hopes for Shakor Stevenson in regards to that. I felt like, he had a knockout his last performance. I said to myself, he's going to come into this fight. Every time we see our fighter, we should always see a better version of that fighter. Now, every great fighter is due and has one of those lackluster nights. Teofimo Lopez had a lackluster night against George Camboza. Okay? Devin Haney had a lackluster night. Tank Davis had one against Pitbull Cruz. So none of these guys can really take shots at him, but none of these guys ever won a world title where your name being in a category you really don't want your name attached to. Shakor Stevenson, I believe, I have to look this up to make it official, but I believe he's the first man in boxing history to successfully win a vacant title going 12 rounds with not one of the round he went into double-digit numbers landing punches. Meaning he didn't land more than 9 punches in any round. On average, on an average fight, a fighter will throw around, I would say, 30 to 40 punches on an average round. He would land anywhere between 16 and 12 punches. That's one round. You know, that's an average round. Shakor Stevenson never picked up the level of intensity, and it was obvious, but you can't put this all on Shakor Stevenson because there's 2 men in that ring. And Edwin De Los Santos and his team should have figured out by the 6th round, he's not throwing his left. He's going backwards in a straight line. And every time I give him something, he goes straight back and doesn't give anything back. He's not fighting you. You know, shame on Edwin De Los Santos' corner for, like, when you're in the 6th round, 7th round, and you're asking yourself, how many punches were landed per round? To the people that are walking around interviewing you, you know, you got the unofficial scorecard. You could ask those guys. And I would have said, listen, Edwin, take it to him. Take it to him. You know, you got him gun shy. You know, if he would have thought he had the ability to knock Edwin out, he would have went forward. Shakor Stevenson went backwards all night. And that's all he did. And there was a reason for that. He saw in Edwin De Los Santos' eyes he meant business. But Edwin De Los Santos' game plan seems to be he was waiting for Shakor Stevenson to come in. And he was ready for whatever Shakor Stevenson came in. He had an answer to that. And he was sticking to the game plan, and he was waiting to engage with him. Shakor Stevenson never engaged with him. So Edwin De Los Santos' game plan went out the window. He had to shift it up and start to go forward. You see? So I could see this a good learning experience for Edwin De Los Santos. I believe one day he has the skills to become a champion. You know, let's see where his future goes from here. Shakor Stevenson, this is more than a lackluster performance. This is red flags right here. Now every boxer that saw that right there, they're not, listen, he can't even, you know, pound his chest and talk shit to other fighters right now. He's going to have to, you know, put together another big fight, come up with a big win and big knockout. And that's the thing about the sport of boxing. Shakor Stevenson can turn all of this around, go out there in his next performance and just dominate like the fighter we all know who he is. You know, we know he has the skills and the capability of doing this, but did we see this coming? Did any of you see that happening right there? You know, and I gave Edwin De Los Santos 40% for a reason, because I told you that Dominican fighter is well coached. He's well coached, you know, and he has skills. And as you can see, when you put Shakor Stevenson with an athlete that is just as athletic, that has good twitch muscle and was ready for you, you know, and was moving with you, that Shakor Stevenson didn't fare up well, you know, with him when he didn't have the guy intimidated or scared, you know, and look, and I got to tell you that Asian dude that Shakor Stevenson fought was a decent fighter. And he was exchanging with Shakor Stevenson. It just had to be that Edwin De Los Santos' power is for real. It's for real, and it made Shakor Stevenson gun shy. That's what happened there. We have some big fights coming around the corner. We got David, the Monster Benavidez. He's going up against Demetrius Andre. David Benavidez' older brother, Jose Benavidez, is on the same card. He's going to be coming up against one of the Charlo twins, right? The 160-pound champion. Now, in recent, you know, watching him on Instagram or something, I'm a little concerned I'm starting to think that this mental health thing is a little alarming, and I'm not sure if he's quite all there yet as a boxer. But his management is not stupid. If you're going to pick anybody with a pretty big name, being that his little brother is who he is and the family is who they are, you know, Jose Benavidez was a good fighter and he was undefeated. Let's keep that all in mind until the fatal shooting where they shot him walking his dog. It's tough in these streets. Can't walk your dog anymore. So they shoot him. They told him, yo, your career's over. You're not going to ever walk again, perhaps. Not only did he overcome walking again, shit, he's fighting again. But he's not as elusive and as evasive off the front foot. He's not as explosive off that front foot. He's more like a step fighter now, where that he just steps, goes in, and he's not going to evade you a lot. So if you put a lot of pressure onto him, he's going to stand in front of you. And what Jose Benavidez is relying on is his hands, because they didn't shoot his hands, okay? He can still fight, but I don't think he understands inside of his head what made his hands so successful were his legs. The ability to evade, to move, to get in and out, and to put yourself in position to get good torque off your hands. Jose Benavidez is in the situation that he's starting to realize that. His hands was always nice, but it's a combination of both. You gotta have your foot underneath you. So for the Charlo twin to come back and to pick an opponent with a pretty good name, and that is a wounded duck, basically, he's not the fighter he once was. That's a good fighter to pick. Now, wouldn't this be ironic if Jose Benavidez came in here and put it on the Charlo twin? Well, that would be pretty freaking amazing now, wouldn't it? But I'm not sure if the Charlo twin is all there right now and he's just taking this fight because he needs some money or something. But he doesn't look right to me. He doesn't look right. His appearance, the way he sounds, from his hairstyle to, it just doesn't feel like him. So coming into this fight, I have nothing to report. I'm not going to say a word about what he's going to look like. I wouldn't touch that fight if I was gambling. I would just enjoy it. I would just watch it as a fan. I just wouldn't put any money on it because of the fact that we don't know what we're getting, are we? His stablemate, his brother, okay, the one that trains with Errol Spence Jr., he was out for an extensive period of time, and look what happened. So, I'm not touching that fight, and I'm not giving you something on it. But look, we have some other big fights. The Japanese superstars coming around the corner. December 26th versus Tapales. That is such a big fight in so many different ways. I'm going to make another video on Naoya Inoue, and I just want to break down his side of it, because I do want to give my take on the fight and why do I have Naoya Inoue favored in this fight and winning in this fight. I have him in this fight. I have him picked. There hasn't been a fight that he ever went in that I picked against him. From the beginning of his career, I picked Naoya Inoue in every single fight. He hasn't lost yet. There's no reason to pick against the man. And I'll make a video about that. So, look, if you like the videos, comment, subscribe.